If you guys are looking for a small forward build in NBA 2K23, you have come to the right video. I'm going to give you guys 3 total builds in this video. 1 really good all-around build, 1 point forward build, and then 1 lockdown build. 3 builds I'm going to be making if I have not already made them. Also, I'm going to give you guys the next gen version of all these builds and then give you guys the current gen version. So that way, no matter which generation you're on, I got a build for you guys. Okay, so for the balanced build, this is going to be kind of like a point lockdown kind of. It can kind of just do everything in this game. Obviously, for the position, go with small forward. Then for the body settings, go 6'8", a minimum weight, and then 7'6" for the wingspan. Now, definitely you're gonna want to go 6'8" and 200 pounds if you want a really balanced small forward. And then you can either go 7'6" or you can go 7'5" for the wingspan. Now, if you go 7'5", you can get an 85 3-point rating and silver limitless range. But if you go 76, you can get a 94 block and gold anchor. There's no real way to get both of them on like an actually good small forward build. In my opinion, gold anchor is way better than silver limitless range, so I decided to go with 7'6" for the wingspan. Now for finishing, I don't really rim run that often, so we're going with an 85 driving dunk. Then we're going with a 79 driving layup and a 76 close shot. We're gonna get 15 total finishing badges. I would recommend throwing 1 extra badge onto finishing. That way you can get 16 total badges and you can get silver posterizer. This build will be able to get contact dunks as well as pretty much all the good dunk packages such as quick drop offs off 1. I don't really be paint mashing that much, so I didn't really go with super high finishing. For shooting, obviously this is going to be very good, so we're going with an 84 3-point rating and a 71 mid range for 18 total shooting badges. 18 total badges is way more than good enough to be able to green consistently in this game. Unfortunately, you only get bronze in this range, but you do get silver agent 3s. And on this build, I found I can green very consistently, and as well I can green a ton of fades on this build. And then moving on to playmaking, we're going with an 89 ball handling rating for Hall of Fame quick first step, a 75 speed with ball for those good dribbling style animations, and then we're gonna go with a 67 pass accuracy. Now for a small forward build, I don't think pass hack is super important, but you guys see an 89 ball handling is super clutch. That way you can get Hall of Fame quick first step, and a 75 ball handling is also very clutch. That way you can get the Michael Jordan or LeBron James dribbling styles, which are very important this year. All around, the dribbling on this build is going to be very good, and even though you only get 18 total badges, it's definitely going to be way better than all those 6'9" point guards due to the fact that you get Hall of Fame quick first step, which is an extremely important badge. Alright, so you guys can see based on the defense right here, you're getting 24 total badges with a 92 perimeter, a 95 steal, a 93 block, giving you gold anchor, gold clamps, and gold glove. The defense on this build is just so crazy. Like, the defense on this build is just so crazy. And at the same time, you can literally do everything else at an elite level. I wanted to make a lockdown that can also ISO very effectively, and this build is just able to do that extremely well. Now for the physicals, obviously you're gonna want to max out your acceleration, then go with an 80 speed and a 75 vert, and go with a 90 stamina. Physicals are pretty important this year, so we do have some quite good physicals. And then you just have to throw like 1 more rating onto free throw to get a 63. Now for the takeovers, I would recommend going with first extreme clamps, and this isn't like a pure lockdown build, so honestly for your secondary takeover, just go with something fun like pull precision. Honestly, after I get Mamba mentality, I might just switch this to ankle breaking shots just for a little bit, just see how many people I can drop on this build. You guys see I built a 2-way inside out shot creator, which is honestly a pretty cool name. Now let me show you guys how to make this build on current gen. Alright, so for the current gen version of this build, for the position, obviously go with small forward. For the body settings, it's going to be the exact same thing, a 6'8", 200 pounds, and 7'6" for the wingspan. These are not going to change at all. Now for the attributes, this is pretty much the only thing that changed. It's very similar to how I upgraded the previous build, with only very minor tweaks. The badge count is a little bit lower than it was on the previous build. That's just how current gen kind of is. In general, you just get lower badges. For the takes, we went with basically the exact same thing, but like a little bit different. And you guys see I built a 2-way inside out shot creator, which makes sense. It should be the exact same name as the previous build. Alright, so for the point forward build of this video, this is going to be a very fun build. I don't know about the most competitive build in the world, but it's going to be super fun. For the position, go with small forward. For the body settings, go 210, 200 pounds, 7'5" for the wingspan. You'd really be surprised how good a 6'10" build is able to dribble. Like, I'm sure all of you guys have seen gameplays of 6'9" dribbling around, but honestly, when it just comes to ISOing, this might be the best build in the game. Now, starting off with a finishing. Now, I'm gonna do something a little bit unpredictable. First, for the driving dunk, we're going with an 85, pretty self-explanatory, but you want that silver posterizer. As well, you guys see we put up our driving layup and our close shot a little bit, but we are maxing out our post control to give us a 99 post control. Now, you're not really going to be post scoring on this build that much. You definitely can if you want to. Really, you're only ever going to be post scoring if you get a really crazy mismatch against like a 6'3" guard. But the reason why we're going with a 99 post control is for a Hall of Fame quick first step and a Hall of Fame unpluckable. That's just so insane. Like, I'm so happy 2K has allowed taller builds to get Hall of Fame quick first step, because Hall of Fame quick first step is not only very overpowered, but on a 6'10" build, it's just so fun. Like, you're moving like a guard. Then for the shooting attributes and badges, obviously if you're making a point forward, you want to be able to shoot very consistently. You guys see 85 3-point rating, 18 total shooting badges, as well as silver limitless range and silver agent 3s. Yeah, to be honest, you're going to be shooting like a guard even though you're 6'10". That's just kind of insane. And speaking of shooting like a guard, you're also going to be dribbling like a guard. Like, if we just slide our pass back up to an 82, we're getting 20 total playmaking badges. As well as you'll get the 80 ball handling dribble moves. For some reason, 6'10" builds can just get 80 ball handling dribble moves. And as well, I can't get over the fact that you're getting Hall of Fame quick first step on this build. This build is honestly just so fun. And then moving on to defensive / rebounding, you guys see we're going with a 67 interior, a 74 perimeter defense, a 71 steal, and an 87 block. As well, we're going to put up our defensive rebound just to a 57 to get a few more badges. Now, you will be able to get silver anchor on this build. Unfortunately, you will not be able to get clamps. Honestly, I know these ratings aren't super great, and neither is the badge count, but you'd be surprised how good the defense is on this build. I think just due to the fact that this is a super tall build with solid rim protection, and it's also just very athletic, this build's defense is definitely extremely solid. And then moving on to the physicals, basically max average speed, you're going to want to go with a 79 acceleration, an 82 vertical, and an 88 stamina. Now, if I'm being honest, you don't really entirely need an 82 vertical, but when I was making this point forward build, I wanted to make a very athletic 6'10" build, and I figured putting up our vertical would just help give us a little bit more bounce. And then you guys see for the takeovers, you really can't get that many good takeovers, so I went with first limitless and second spot up. I mean, like, I'm not really complaining about these takeovers. They're two very good takeovers, but it would be nice to get a few more options, 2K. And you guys see I built a 3-point, okay, what? Some of the names 2K gives us is just so confusing sometimes. But we do get that shades of Kevin Durant, which is pretty cool to see. Now, if you are on current gen with it, then basically you're going to want to make the exact same build with the exact same position and the exact same body settings. Then for the attributes, this is going to switch up a little bit. You guys see we're not really getting as many badges, but the premise of the build is still there. It's a 6'10" build with Hall of Fame quick first step. That's going to be dribbling basically just like a guard. Then for the takeovers, honestly, you're able to get playmaking takeover, and since this is a point forward build, why not go with it? And for your secondary takeover, I went with spot up precision. I think this is just the best takeover for this build. And yeah, you guys see the build name is the exact same as the previous build. Now let me give you guys the best pure lockdown build in this game. So as I said, this is the best pure lockdown build in this game. First, for the position, go with small forward. Then for the body settings, go with 6'7", 180 pounds, and 7'4" for the wingspan. 6'7", I'm pretty sure is the tallest you can go while still getting a 99 steal, which gives you Hall of Fame glove, which gives you unlimited steals, which is just so overpowered. And then 7'4" also gives you that 99 steal, as well as an 85 3-point rating, which will give you silver limitless. Now for finishing, this is pretty bad. I mean, 5 total badges. You're not really going to be rim running on this build, but I mean, like, if you're ever on a lockdown, you're not really paint mashing like that. Like, the only time you're even finishing around the rim is if you get a wide open fast break, and pretty much in every other scenario, you're just going to opt for a 3. Now for shooting, you're definitely going to want that 85 3-point rating to give you silver limitless range, and then you don't really need anything else if I'm being honest, but that silver limitless range does help you a ton to green a ton of 3-pointers. Then for playmaking, I like being able to create my own shot on my lockdown builds. So we're going with an 85 ball handling rating, a 62 steal, and a 76 pass accuracy. I do definitely think you should have at least a little bit of ball handling, at least a little bit of pass accuracy on this build, even if it's like 70s in both of those categories. I really just hate when I get past the ball on offense and then I just have to kind of just stand there, because I know as soon as I try to pass the ball, it's gonna get stolen unless it's just like wide open. And then if I put the ball on the floor, I'm not gonna be doing anything with it unless I upgrade my ball handling rating, which is exactly what I did. With an 85 ball handling, you're able to get a ton of very good dribble moves. There's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to dribble on this build. Now for defensive / rebounding, I don't really think I need to explain this. I mean, you guys can pretty much just see how this build is looking. Like 30 total defensive / rebounding badges is kind of crazy. As well, Hall of Fame glove, Hall of Fame clamps. Those 2 badges are just so overpowered, especially Hall of Fame glove. And then silver anchor is definitely very solid. It definitely does suck you can't make a build with like gold anchor and Hall of Fame glove. Like, maybe that'd just be a little bit too toxic. And then boom, you guys can pretty much see the physicals. Now I know some people think you need a ton of vertical or a ton of strength on the lockdown build. In my opinion, as far as how high you're able to jump on defense is more so tied to your block rating. And then for strength on defense, honestly, this is just most helpful for post scorers. It does help with kind of like combating the bully badge, if that makes sense. But bully is not as overpowered as I think a lot of people think it is. Like for a while, I thought it was going to be the best badge in the game, but it turns out it's really not that crazy. Then for the takeovers, definitely go with extreme clamps first. And then honestly, if you're a secondary takeover, you can go with limitless range, you can go with spot up if you want to, but I'm just going to go with perimeter badge drop. I mean, having double lock takeover is just kind of scary. And then as you guys see, I built a 3ND wing, which makes a ton of sense as a name. Now let me show you guys how to make this one on current gen. All right, so for the current generational version of this build, basically for the body settings, it's going to be the exact same thing. It's basically going to be the exact same build. Then for the attributes, it's just very minor tweaks. I don't really know off the top of my head what the very minor tweaks I made are, but the builder is just very minorly different, so I did have to make a very few minor tweaks. For the takeovers, definitely go lock take first, and then for your secondary takeover, you can't go double lock take, so I'm going with spot up. And you guys see I built a 3ND wing, which is definitely an extremely solid name. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. If you did enjoy this video, please drop me a like and subscribe to the channel. There's a shorts video on the screen right now. Be sure to click it. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.